Greetings, fellow puckheads, and welcome back to the Clear the Ice, a Flyers postgame show here on the Edge of Philly Sports with your boy Matty B tonight on the With the Call. And boy, I get a good one finally. Finally, I get a good one to talk about. Flyers tonight, 3-2 winners in overtime in Camden against those pesky New Jersey Devils. 18-10-3 now are your Philadelphia Flyers. They are now they've gotten points in their last 9 games. And they seem to be continuing that surge. With the current state of Philadelphia sports, who would have thunk it that the Flyers would be your hot top story here, or your good news story here in December of 2023 as we get closer to Christmas. But it is the case, as the guys out there can't seem to do anything wrong these days. Tonight, another spirited victory against a team that last year, if you watched the Flyers and Devils play, the Devils were like light years ahead of the Flyers. They were light years ahead of them in talent. They were light years ahead of them in scheme and everything else. Devils had a great year last year, but now this year, boy, have the tables flipped and they have turned as the Flyers seem to be better than the Devils. They're definitely on the same page with them as rising teams within the Eastern Conference. And I guess maybe before I dump into this or get into this game, maybe that's the question that I got to ask. Are the Flyers contenders? Are they no longer that rebuilding story? Are they actually a contending hockey club in 2023-24? They are proving every single night that they might have to be mentioned in that conversation. I'm not talking trade deadline moves and all that, but are the Flyers no longer the lovable doormats of the Metro Division? And if they are, and if this is the case, and boy, my eyes are telling me some things that I'm happy to see. I'm all for it. But here we go. Let's delve into this game. A nice divisional matchup here before Christmas. The final divisional matchup the Flyers will have before actually coming back from Western Canada in early January. So this was actually a very important game, obviously, for divisional standings and points and separation and whatnot. And it's the Devils, for God's sake. So we got to do what we got to do against them. So it was an important game for the Flyers in a lot of aspects. Daniel Berry Sports checks in and says, "Yo, what's up, Daniel? How you doing?" Pat Bernard, Matt, the Flyers steal one in North Jersey. Let's go. They did steal one. And by the way, Pat, for those of you who are keeping track at home, with the Flyers win tonight, that's their 3rd win in overtime this season. They're now 3-3 in the extra frame. That matches their win total in overtime from last season. If you guys remember, they were a dreadful 3-12 in the extra frame last season. They are now 3-3, so they've matched their entire win total in overtime in December from all of last season. So that is a positive. That's a hell of a positive stat. 3-12 in overtime was really hard to deal with. But so a good news story. Pat says now we also have a double dual threat goalie combo. Who is the dual threat, Pat? Because right now I see one guy, and he's not wearing number 79. All right, I don't know what's going on with Mr. Sickly Man, and please don't get it wrong. If he's got something, I'm not downplaying that, but I really wish we would get some transparency about stuff. Heath Jones and Danny Briere promised to be transparent. What's Carter Hart's getting sick every day? I guess they interviewed him on Saturday. He says he's got something that comes on and comes off, turns on, turns off. I think he said periodically. Could we get more information upon that? Is it a ruse? Is there something else going on? But right now, I don't agree. We don't have a dual threat combo. We got one, and he's a hell of a goalie, and Sam Ersson. And until proven otherwise, I'm not going to go ahead and give 79 his dues, because I don't know what's going on with him, man. Can somebody tell me what's going on with him? Because obviously it's not. I'm not feeling what's coming out. I'm not feeling the vibe coming from the Flyers right now in the status of Carter Hart's health. So I just like to know more, because we were promised more transparency. Let's see if that promise is kept. Joe House's great win tonight. It was an awesome win. It was a great win. Let's get into the game. Out there in North Jersey, the Flyers, the Devils, really just kind of going over some of the team numbers before we get into the goal scoring summary. Both teams potted 26 shots on the night. Flyers and a very rare appearance, so they did not outshoot their opponent. It was a fairly chippy game. 28 hits for the Flyers, 25 for the Devils. The Flyers were also out face-off 33-21. On the power play, yeah, I know. I got to talk. If there's one bummer about the Flyers this season, it's that god-awful power play. 0 for 3 again tonight. Now I believe 10 for 97 for the season. Definitely, we're not truly going to come out of rebuild mode, in my opinion, until we figure the power play out. And we're not going to truly figure the power play out until we get a goal scorer here. So as long as this power play is like this, I'm going to still kind of consider us in rebuild mode. The Devils were 1 for 1 on their power play. Another, again, a rare power play goal given up, or a rare shorthanded goal given up by the Flyers. Only their 13th power play goal surrendered this season. They're still way up there in the 85 percentile in the shorthanded area. The Flyers also blocked 21 shots, which is keeping pace with their 18 shots a game average on the season. I still can't get over that. The Devils, meanwhile, they only blocked 12 shots. So listen, there's something to this. I mentioned it the last time I had the post game. The Flyers are bought in. You don't block 21 shots a game, or you don't block 18 shots on average a game if you haven't bought into something that the coach is saying. Because why would you do that? You're going to sacrifice your body for something you don't believe in. And the Flyers are continuously going out there every night and blocking shots. I've never seen anything like this, even during the heyday of Flyers hockey. Never remember a team blocking shots the way this one does. 21 on the night. Now for the season, 573 block shots. 573 block shots through 31 games. That averages out to about 18 and a half shots blocked a game. Again, a stat that's all you need to know about whether or not the Flyers are bought in is that stat right there. The Devils, again, on their other hand, only blocked 12. The Flyers took the puck away eight times and gave it away 3. Let's head over to the scoring summary on this night. Flyers did find themselves down early in a back and forth kind of, I wouldn't say offensive anemic first period, but there was more feeling out going on in this thing in the first period. But Michael McLeod, his 7th of the year, at the 14-16 mark of the first period, give the Devils a 1-0 lead. Ryan Pooling, though, will get the Flyers back even early in that first period, 1:10 mark, his 3rd of the year, to tie things up at 1. But then just Jasper Bratt would put the Devils ahead on the power play. About a minute and a half later, it was 2-1 Devils, and then Ryan Poehling, that's right, say his name twice, god damn it, his 4th of the year at the 8:19 mark to tie things up at 2. And that would be all your scoring for the rest of the game in regulation. And then a spirited overtime where Sam Ersson made his bones, boy. In overtime when you're skating 4-on-4, when you're skating 3-on-3, there's going to be a lot of open ice, and there's going to be a lot of opportunities. There's going to be a lot of odd man rushes, and it was back and forth throughout that overtime. I thought the Flyers were going to win it a couple times before they actually won it. Vanacek stood on his head for the Devils, but Sam Ersson also stood on his head for the Flyers. There was a few opportunities. They kind of came in succession for the Devils in the Flyer end, and Ersson was able to turn them all away. And then Owen Tippett on a beautiful steal, and then conversion on the breakaway goes in. Goes kind of top shelf over that far shoulder, gives the Flyers a 3-2 win in overtime, now improving their record on the season to an 18-10-3, as I mentioned, for 39 points through 31 games. Again, amazing that we're sitting here talking about the Flyers as the Good News Philadelphia sports story in December of 2023. I got a comment here I want to hit up with. The young guys step up again. They do. Absolutely, Joe Hale. They absolutely do step up. Let's head over to some of the individual numbers. We'll talk a little bit about Sam Ersson, as well as the Devil goalie Vanacek. But Ersson on the night, continuing, in my opinion, to and I'm going to say it, man, he's separating himself from Carter Hart. He's taking the most out of this opportunity. And again, I would love to know what is actually going on with Carter Hart. And what he has that's flaring up every other day, or not every other day, but seems to be flaring up, and it's concerning me. Sam Ersson did face 26 shots. He gave up 2 goals, saved 24 with a 9.23 save percentage on the night as he earns the victory for the Devils. Vanacek, 26 shots, faced 3 goals, 23 saves, and an 8.85 save percentage for the Devils in their losing cause on the night. But listen, we can kind of critique some of the goals, and I do want to kind of critique some of the goals here right now by the Devils. Both goals the Devils scored were on defensemen kind of laying out or giving themselves up. I believe it was Zamula on the first one, and I want to say Risto on the second one, maybe. I'm a big fan of that. I've always been a big fan of laying out when it came to trying to play defense in hockey, but you're really committing yourself to do it. If you mess up, you don't time it correctly, if you don't lay out right, you're going to really put your team down at a disadvantage. And that's what happened tonight on both those opportunities. Zamula really, really struggling. And it's a shame because I really liked him coming up in minor hockey or in junior hockey. I followed him a little bit when he was down there with Lehigh. I just, he just doesn't seem to be, he's like a half a step behind at this level. And it's a shame because he's got all the makeup for a good NHL defenseman. But I don't know. But when you do that, when you lay out like that, you're really kind of committing to something. And it cost the Flyers tonight because that was both their goals on the night for the Devils. But all in all, another great opportunity and a great effort there by the Philadelphia Flyers as they win tonight in overtime. Austin says, "Oh, hey, Austin, how you doing? I hope you're enjoying your new digs." Austin says, Ersson started the season very shaky in net, but has been consistently proving that he can be the number one goal potentially. No, there's no potential about it there, Austin. Can we remove the potential tag? He's starting to prove. He's proven himself to me. I know I'm getting ahead of myself. Obviously, there's potential still there because he's not. Yeah, but if you told me tomorrow, Austin, that Sam Ersson was the goalie going forward and that Carter Hart was no longer available for whatever reason, health or a trade, wink, wink, I would be okay with it at this point. I would. We're still in a rebuild. Let's not lose sight of that. And having two great goalies or two potentially good goalies right now who are both, the one's really red hot and the other one's got a rep around the NHL as being an above average goaltender. Shouldn't we kind of be moving and acting on some of that right now and trying to address some of the other needs like a 10 for 97 power play? I don't want to lose sight of the rebuild. It is still a rebuild. Have I mentioned it's still a rebuild? We cannot lose sight of that. And we must upgrade. I've heard some rumors, and this was something that I really enjoyed seeing over the week. Johnny Gaudreau. Would you go after Johnny Gaudreau right now? I would. I'd trade Carter Hart to the Blue Jackets for Johnny Hockey. I'd do it tonight to get a score here. I would do that move tonight. If they would accept Carter Hart straight up for Johnny Hockey, sign me up. I'm doing it, man. I am doing it in a heartbeat. But let's not lose sight of that rebuild. But it's a great thing. It's a great problem to have, especially for this team and the history of this team and the voidness of good goaltending that we've had over the past 40 years. But to have two very reputable NHL goaltenders right now, listen, I'm ready, man. Let's make a move. Bring Johnny Hockey to Philly. Hashtag trade for Johnny Gaudreau. That's my new. That's going to be a new hashtag on this show as long as I'm hosting it until we make it happen. Bring him here. Send Carter Hart to Columbus. I think they'd accept the deal. They're kind of a rebuilding team. They need a goalie. We got two. Let's give him one because we need a score. And I'll be all down for that, man, in a heartbeat. But no, it's a good problem to have, Austin, and a great question to ask. Steven says, Pulling is a very nice transitional player. Not a good transition player. Not a good what? Ryan Poehling is a very nice transition player. Not a good transition player. Reminds me a little of so. Yeah, listen, Ryan Poehling is a roster spot right now, Steven. He's going to be one of those potential trade deadline moves for the Flyers to maybe pick up a 4th round draft pick for the future if the Flyers have to seem to fall out of contention. Hell, even if they don't. But listen, it's good to see to get return on some of the free agent moves that Danny Briere has made. Obviously, when you're a first-year GM, you want to have all your moves hit, or as many as you possibly can. And especially in a rebuild, he is exceeding expectations with all his moves. The Sean Walker move is working out well. The Poehling move is working out well. It's been really good. So I'm not going to get too deep into what Ryan Poehling is and what he isn't. I know what he is. He's goddamn trade bait. He's not part of the future of this thing. But it's good to see him contribute with 2 nice goals tonight. Obviously, we needed him tonight, and it's good to see that. So yeah. He says, sorry, not a good possession player. No, he's what he is, man. It's not flashy hockey. It's not super fast hockey. It's sound operators. Yeah, and I'm loving that flip play. I remember that. The Penguins used to run that play back in the day, back when they were winning all them cups, right? The flipping the puck out the D zone, springing that forward, either typically off the boards. It's working like a charm. The Flyers are creating a lot of offense. One of the digs on this team has been their inability to exit their zone. And we've seen it over the last couple seasons kind of drive you crazy trying to transition out. They would get befuddled by a team's back check. They would not understand the transitional pass in neutral ice was really hurting this team. But now they've kind of erased all that with the flip play. I'm digging it, man. Give it to me anytime. It's a no-brainer. You spring the forward. If the pass hits him, it's a breakaway. You have a scoring opportunity. If it doesn't hit him, more than likely it's going to be an icing. So it's really a no-brainer. It's not going to get you caught on the back end at all. It's a great play. Hopefully nobody figures it out how to defend it, and the Flyers keep riding that. But as long as they do, they're maximizing their inability to exit their own zone. And I'm digging it, man. And that's coaching, Nick Sirianni. You probably need to take a lesson from John Tortorella. JP says NJ 2.0 is your turn this year. Do not ever compare us to the New Jersey Devils. Ever. You might as well just shave my head with a cheese grater while I'm chewing on tinfoil, man. Don't ever compare us to the New Jersey Devils, all right? I'm never going to say a comp to the Devils, Penguins, Rangers, Islanders, none of that nonsense. Keep that off my show. Oh, I need a shower now, man. Ugh. Austin says you would trade another solid goaltender to the Blue Jackets. So, hey, I don't care. I don't care. Don't give me Bobrovsky. All right, it didn't work out. But you know what? Hey, that doesn't mean you can't keep trying there, Austin. I would trade Carter Hart tonight to the Columbus Blue Jackets 1-on-1 for Johnny Hockey. I'm telling you, it would be the best move for both teams. I honestly think Carter Hart is not the answer. I don't, and he's about to get paid. He's got one more RFA deal this season. He'll sign for, $3-4 million a year. But then after that, depending how long that contract is, if it's for the standard 3 years, then he's a UFA, and then he's going to want big money. And then by the time that RFA deal he's going to sign over the summer ends, should be when the Flyers are back up there competing for cups. And is that, I alleviate that problem from us right now. We're getting out of cap hell now. I don't want to go back in it with a long-term goalie for a long-term contract for a goalie that I don't believe in. And now he's got some health issues that are apparently not being told to us, even though we were promised transparency. But I would make that trade tonight, Austin. Don't laugh at me. JP thinks I was funny about that cheese grater thing. Ellis, how you been, man? I haven't seen you in a hot minute. Flyers are hot. They absolutely are. Hottest team in Philly. Again, this is not Memorex, right? I'm not talking to you from 1996, okay? I am talking to you from December of 2023. The Flyers are the hottest team in the city of Philadelphia. They're making people forget about the Eagles. You know what I'm saying? And I'm digging that, man. I'm digging it. Steven says first total 60 minutes I watched in entirety all season. Steven, you've been missing out on some good hockey, and it's a perfect time of the year, Steven, to come back to the fray, right? Come back to the family, because we got Christmas coming up. That very traditional Western Canada road trip is looming right after the holidays. That trip that made you feel so cool when you were a kid and able to stay up to 10:30 in order to watch a Flyers hockey game on a Tuesday because you were on Christmas break. That's the cementing time when you became loyal Flyers fans. Remember that, Stephen, back from your youth? Because I certainly remember that from my youth. So come on back, watch some more hockey. Yeah, I made you read it. Johnny Hockey from NJ is soft. Yeah, no, he's not. I'll take him. And first of all, Johnny Hockey might be from NJ, but he's from South NJ. So we're gonna claim him in Philly. Okay. Anything what would you call it? What's the cutoff of South Jersey versus like Philadelphia, New York? What would you what shore point would you consider the cutoff of Philadelphia versus New York? I'm going to say it's below Middletown, New Jersey. So I'm not going to. It's somewhere around there is where it cuts off, and then anything north of that is all New York. But around, okay, I guess I'll give it Middletown, New Jersey area. Anything south of Middletown, New Jersey is all Philly, and then anything north of there is all New York. So well, I'll give that. He was a Philly fan because he grew up in South Jersey, man. Come on. The stat of holding 13 straight road game opponents to 3 a few goals or less. Yeah, it is. They play defense. They play defense better than a lot of Flyer teams that I've seen. I'm going to go back to the 2010s. They're playing like that. And again, the stat of the block shot, Steven, is all you need to see about one, the way this team is playing defense, and number two, how much this team has bought in. Red Bank, that's too north, man. Red Bank is New York all the way. Red Bank is way too north for me. Middletown, man. Middletown, New Jersey, and southeast is all Philadelphia, right? And anything north and northeast central is all New York. That's how I'm going to go with it, man. North of 95 is the cutoff. North of 995. What the hell does that mean? Or is that north of 195? Okay, I'll believe that too. But so Steven says he remembers the late night winter breaks. Yeah, listen again. That made you like feel alive. Sitting down at 10:30 at night when you're about 12, 13 years old, popping on. Was it channel 57 or channel 17 or channel 48 for those of you who go way back like me, and watching some Flyers Canucks action, man. Yeah. Come on, man. That's living right there, man. That's my youth. So come on back, Steven, because you're back just in time. Let's transition now because we've arrived at the point of the show where I like to give my three Flyer stars of the night. So let's do that now, shall we? It's a little dig on the NHL's 3 stars of the night, or they do 3 stars of the night. So, but I took a Flyer spin on that tonight. My third Flyer star of the evening, I got to give it to Sam Ersson, right? As he continues to solidify himself as a not a backup goalie in my mind, but a 1B, right? I mean, I guess we can call him that. Made some big time saves in some big time moments in this game. Late there. I think early in the overtime, Jack Hughes breaking in all along, nifty little play, weaving in between defenders, stoned by Ersson right there at the crease. A face-off win a little bit later on in overtime, stoned. So, I'm going to give Sam Ersson maybe for more of what he's done, but definitely for what he did tonight. He is my definite third star of the night for the Flyers. My number 2 star didn't really show up too much on the score sheet, but some of the intangibles that he did tonight are definitely going to endear him to me as Cam York. We've been dying in this town for a Kimmo Timonen, Eric Desjardins type of defenseman. We thought we had it in Provorov. It never really quite worked out. Cam York is, in my mind, starting to kind of turn into that. Offensively, he's still trying to find what he is, but defensively, as far as our young core of blue liners go, really one of the better ones tonight. Again, didn't really show up on the stat sheet tonight, except for some intangibles. He had 3 block shots. He had 2 hits, but he also made a hell of a play late in the game on a Devil breakaway where he was the only guy back. It was an odd man rush, and he broke up the play. Really, in my opinion, saved the game tonight for the Philadelphia Flyers. So he continues to cement his legacy, and he had a hell of an effort tonight. And a guy with 3 block shots in a game, he's always going to stand out there on my own personal score sheet. And of course, my number 1 Flyer star of the night, Ryan Poehling, the 2-goal effort. He had himself a 3 block shots on the night himself. He had 3 shots on the game. Best night he has as a Flyer. So there you have it. Ryan Poehling is my number 1 Flyer star of the night. So the recap: Sam Ersson is my number 3. Poehling or York is my number 2, and then Ryan Poehling is my number 3, or my number 1. And that's that segment on the show.
All right, guys, it's time to talk about.
Brought to you by that. That was brought to you by, but the wrong one. Brought to you by Dolan's Bar in Ridley Park, 24 East Sellers Ave. Make sure you check them out for Quizzo, music, great times, and memorabilia giveaways. And you never know who might walk through the front door at Dolan's, so give them a holler. All right, folks, let's turn our attention now to the National Hockey League, around the league here on the show. Currently, games that are ongoing: 2-0. 5-1 Canucks over the Predators late in the third, about midway through the third period, 7 minutes ago. At the end of the second, it is 2-2 Avalanche and Blackhawks. At the early part of the third period is 3-0 Senators over the Coyotes. And a little bit later on tonight, the Kings and the Sharks will go at it. Games that have gone final: Wild over the Bruins 4-3 in overtime. The Blue Jackets all over the Sabres 9-4. The Rangers beat the Maple Leafs 5-2. Lightning over the Blues 6-1. Hurricanes over the Golden Knights 6-3. And the New York Islanders over those Edmonton Oilers 3-1. And that is your look around the National Hockey League on this Tuesday night in late December. And yeah, so Steven says Flyers versus Flames in New Year's Eve. Yeah, it's going to be a good one, only for the fact that it's Flyers Flames from the Saddle Dome. Yeah, we're going way back, man. And then Lenny McDonald's going to be playing, and Mike Vernon in goal. So we're going way back. So can't wait for that game. Steven says, I think you picked Middletown just because that's where the debate. No, I didn't pick Middletown because of that. I picked Middletown because I've done a lot of hockey work out of an arena in Middletown. And it kind of, when I'm there and I see some of the local teams and local people, is literally a mix. I at the rink wearing Ranger stuff, Flyer stuff. A lot of Philly youth hockey teams come up from Philadelphia and play tournaments out of Middletown, New Jersey. They got the home of the New Jersey Titans. It's a major junior hockey team out of that area. So I've done a lot of work at that barn, and to me, it's just kind of, I don't think I've ever gone north of there. So I'm going to say that that's the cutoff for me. It has nothing to do with the Van Riensdijks at all, Stephen. Please. So, folks, that's going to wrap me up. Big game tonight. Big win. Huge win for the Flyers. Oh, yeah, before I do, I'll be amiss here. Let's look at some of the stats on the season. 18-10-3 now on the year for 39 points, 31 games. Flyers are 10 for 97 on the power play, which has now brought that percentage down to 10.3. I mentioned this on the show the other night. If the power play was working in any sort of semblance, this team would probably be about, 22-7, 23-8 right now, honestly, if you think about it. But until we get the power play figured out, and that's not going to happen until we get a score here or two. But until that happens, the Flyers are still definitely a rebuilding team. On the season, the Flyers have been shorthanded 97 times. They've killed 83 of them for 85.6 proficiency. The Flyers have now scored 93 goals. That is for 3 a game. They've given up 82 for 2.6. They have registered 979 shots for 31, about 32 a game. They've given up 844 shots for 27. As I mentioned, that overtime record is a hefty 3-3, matching last year's win total in overtime. Their shootout record is a gaudy 3-0. They have 7 shorthanded goals. They have taken the puck away 198 times for 6.4 times a game. They've given it up 207 times for 6.7 times a game. And they blocked 573 shots for 18.5 shots a game. Looking around at some of the potential prospects that the Flyers might want to bring into the fold next year, Macklin Celebrini, Cole Eiserman are all currently off on their at their national training sites as they are preparing for the IIHF under 20 World Championships that will begin on December 26th from Sweden. And I will have you covered with that. I will cover that for EOP. You'll be seeing articles on the daily. We're not going to do any shows about it, but there'll be some articles about the tournament on the daily starting on the 26th. As soon as every team goes final with their rosters, I will definitely be reporting that out as well. The Flyers, I believe, currently Cutter Gauthier and Oliver Bonk are shoo-ins to make their teams. There's a couple other players out there. There's the kid from Serbia, not Serbia. His name is Kersnik. That kid, I think he's made Slovenia. Maybe it's I owe it to you. Ryan's his first name, so I think he's going to make his national team. But I will tweet, or I will be covering that for EOP once the tournament gets going. But as far as some of these highly touted prospects that will be draft eligible this summer, Mac Celebrini, Cole Iserman, and Sam Dickerson, to name just a few, are currently all doing what they got to do. Dickerson did not make the Canadian team. He's back with London. But and as far as the Flyers prospects, Cutter Gauthier and Oliver Bonk are with their national teams. Denver Berkey with the London Knights was returned back to London. He's 30 games played, 17 goals, 27 assists, 44 points, 14 penalty minutes for a +15. And of course, Matt Mishkov, who is I guess still dealing with pneumonia, did not make the trip with Sochi on their current 3-game road trip. Hasn't played in a minute due to pneumonia. 29 games played, 11 goals, 15 assists, 26 points, 18 penalty minutes for a -3. Not a really good program. Not a good team, Sochi is. And then, of course, Cutter Gauthier, who is off with with the U.S. national program, getting ready for the big tournament. But yeah, that's your look around some of the prospects that the Flyers are looking at potentially drafting. I think Sam Dickerson would be available. He's a blue liner. I don't know. I doubt Iserman or Mac Celebrini are going to be around by middle of the first round. So, but Dickerson, a good young defenseman, would potentially be there when the Flyers pick in the first round. So keep an eye on him, as the Flyers are probably going to look to try to hopefully strengthen that blue line as they move forward. Zemil Andre Reiter, legit early 20s fill-ins shouldn't anyone get hurt. Legit early 20s fill-in. Are you talking about the tournament, Steven? I doubt it. I doubt neither one of them are. I doubt it. If you're talking about the tournament for the national programs, I don't think so. I mean, listen, Team Canada is stacked. They're just really, really good. They're sending players away that are probably going to go in the top 10 in the NHL draft this year. If you're talking about filling in for the Flyers, if anybody gets hurt, I don't know. Oh yeah, he says no pro from the AHL. Yeah, listen, Andre really seemed kind of lost when he was here earlier this season. He's kind of found his footing a little bit down there in Lehigh. Same thing with Adder. Adder looked lost. The game just looked too fast for them earlier this season. I'm not saying that it's going to be the way it is. I don't know. Listen, a lot of people think Lehigh is more than what they are. Lehigh is a bunch of role players, in my opinion, young hopefuls. There's nobody down there really that's separating themselves, in my opinion, that's going to be an immediate call up. But if somebody gets hurt, obviously you're going to have to look at some of these guys, and I think Adder would probably be the forward you would bring up. I don't know if Andre fits in that category defensively yet. I don't know. He seemed really lost earlier this year when he was up here. But they're good problems to have, because these are good young players that hopefully continue to their development. But right now, I would say no. If no, maybe short term, yeah. Long term, different story. I don't know. I don't think so. But listen, folks, that is going to do it for me tonight. But before I sign off, let me remind you about Sherry's Tickets for great tickets on sports, concert, and theater venues. www.sherrystickets.com. Family owned and operated since 1946. Great prices, no hidden fees. Save an additional 10% when you enter the promo code EOP10. And for your workman's compensation, motor vehicle accident, personal injury, criminal law, contact Dave Cherry at 610-565-0300, and he will take great care of you. And all the great stuff that Philly Sports Strips has to offer. Mark this one on your calendar, of course, the 2024 Stadium Series game between the Flyers and Devils at MetLife Stadium on February 17, 2024. You may find me there. I am definitely looking into going to that. What was that? I'm definitely looking to go into that thing. So Matty B might find himself up there. So be on the lookout for me for that game. But head over to Philly Sports Strips for everything the Philly spring training stuff that's going to get ready to drop here in early March. everything else that Philly Sports Church has to offer. And head over there now, today, right now. As soon as I sign off, you guys got to head over there. So that's going to do it for me tonight. Flyers will be back on Thursday night at home. Final home game before the holiday break. They will take on the Nashville Predators. And I believe, why don't I ever add this? Listen, the graphics there. I know who it is. I think it's Pat. Yeah, no, it's Al. Al has got the call Thursday night against the Predators. And then I believe Pat or Mike is back on Friday for the Wings game to wrap up your holiday. And then the Flyers will be back at it next week on the road in Western Canada. So there'll be some late nights over the Christmas break. So make sure you're tuned in. And as I mentioned, the IIHF U20 World Championships begin on December 26th out there in Sweden. You can see the games exclusively on the NHL Network. But definitely, if you have the opportunity, if you want to see what the NHL is going to look like in about 5 years, and more importantly, what the Flyers might look like in about 3 years, make sure you're checking out that tournament, because you're going to see some of them on display, as well as some of the future stars of this league. So that starts on the 26th, and I will be covering that for EOP with articles and maybe some shorts and stuff like that. So make sure you're tuned in. Until we talk again, folks, in the immortal words of my man, Mr. Gene Hart, good night and good hockey.